And even like Donald Trump also mentioned that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he was like after the China Plus One thing that happened, so बहुत सारा production of Apple iPhones also was happening in India, and now he has requested him कि आप US में करो and India में ये सब नहीं होना चाहिए. So I'm just trying to understand like what are the relationships between India and US, and after all these things which are happening, is it that India US relations are like on the stage of weakening, or what's your view?
See, this can be viewed, or this can be answered in many different ways. But let's start with two. The first is, how much is the US president really in control? And the second is, what is the nature of US-India relationships, right? So let's think about, first discuss the US president's power and control. See, he's first and foremost a politician. A lot of what he says and does is for his voter base. What was actually a private conversation with Tim Cook need not have been brought up in public, but he did that to signal to his people that, look, I am putting pressure on everyone. So when Walmart wants to raise prices, and it guides that it'll have to raise prices because of tariffs, I mean, he's blasting them. They're saying, you made so much money in the last couple of years. Now, absorb the tariffs. You shouldn't have to. So remember that he has to maneuver the political system and the economy through what is a very tough and turbulent phase. And so in doing so, if he finds that he's made China uninvestable, but US is not getting the manufacturing jobs, and frankly, I don't think even he has an idea, and most of the economists who have opined on his tariffs agree that tariffs are not the way to solve the problem that he's trying to solve. Now, and therefore, it is natural for him to feel frustrated that the jobs that I want to bring back to the US are actually landing up somewhere else. So he is, I think, very cognizant of the fact that China needs to be weakened, but at the same time, he needs more manufacturing jobs in the US. So some of his comments have to be viewed in that light, and they're very consistent with that worldview that he wants to bring manufacturing back to the US. The question then is, will Apple start doing assembly in the US just because the US president has asked it to? And the answer is no. See, a lot of what he's trying to do, see, we all understand the grand objectives that he has, that there is a lot of inequality in the US, which has grown in the last 35 years. Most of the gains of growth in the last 35 years have gone to the top 10% of the population. Bottom 50% has been left out. Real median wage has barely grown. And he needs to solve that problem. He also needs to solve the problem that there is very little manufacturing skill set available in the US right now. And that if they were to get into a hot war, and which is why Peter Navarro mentioned and talked about the arsenal of democracy. When he was asked, why is it that the US wants 25% import duties on autos? And he said, because the autos are the arsenal of democracy. This is a phrase that was used by Franklin Roosevelt in 1940 to announce to the world that it would be the arsenal of democracy that would build the fighter jets and the tanks and the ships that would then fight the industrial might of the Nazis. Now, he's invoking that kind of, so they want manufacturing. So he wants all of that to happen. But when he tried to set these duties very high, and there was a certain randomness in them, the markets panicked. Very soon, and therefore the 90-day pause came. Then, from what we've read, the US retailers went to him and complained that, look, we had stocked up well in advance, but if we don't see more shipments in the next 2 to 3 months, we are going to be out on looking at empty shelves, and then we'll have to start firing people. Now, it is believed that around that time was when he started waving the peace flag and saying that let's not, that I'm willing to negotiate with China. So let's not extend these high duties forever. So his objectives remain the same, but this pretty much defined the pain threshold. Now think about it logically. And a phone assembly job, and it is not because it can't be automated. I mean, it can be automated and no one is doing it. It is very hard to automate. Training robots to do that level of sophistication is very hard still, which is why you need humans. The humans are getting paid 14 to 15,000 rupees a month, $180 a month. In an economy where $85,000 is the per capita GDP, minimum wage is basically 12 hours of. So if you take $180 a month, you can do 12 hours of minimum wage in that. Really? So I don't think these are practical demands. Just like him saying that Walmart shouldn't be raising prices. Really think Walmart has an option not to raise prices? So some of these, while they make headlines, they are his way of signaling to his people that I'm working for you. I doubt that it will meaningfully affect Apple's investments. The second part of the answer, which is the US-India relationship. Remember that we're talking about a $30 trillion economy engaging with a $4 trillion economy. These are two very large economies. I mean, 4 seems very small compared to 30, but what I meant to say is that 4 trillion is large enough. We're the 5th largest economy. Very soon we'll be the 3rd largest economy in the world. Now, even with China, which is now its strategic competitor, the US is willing to engage because it realizes that breaking apart is not going to help. So as an economy, as people, as observers, as analysts, as investors, we have to learn to live with a relationship which is not going to be black and white. I remember once asking the US ambassador to India at that time, this is 10 years back maybe, around 10 years back. And at that time there were some tussles happening on H-1B visas and all that. And so I asked, look, we are supposed to be forming the Quad, we are supposed to be allies, why is this happening? He said, okay, so let me ask you a question. Which country do we have the largest number of trade disputes with? I don't know. China? I said, no, Canada. He said that, look, if we are going to have an all-encompassing relationship, there will be areas where we don't agree. And there will be conflicts. So even as these things are happening, you look at the technology transfer that is happening on modular nuclear reactors. We are energy starved. The US is willing to transfer the technology. Even on the technology side, so if you look at electronics assembly or say semiconductor packaging, most of the technology is coming from the Americans. So I would not overemphasize the differences. The differences exist. They have to be managed. You can't wish them away. So just like it would be unwise to think that, US is an all-weather friend. Remember that India has chosen to retain its strategic options. So it is not willing to, and very rightly so, go into the American camp. So balancing our own needs, strategic and tactical, between what, say, China wants, and we can't wish away the Chinese. Chinese are our neighbors. They're also the 2nd largest economy in the world. They're also dominant in most of the large and fast-growing sectors. So allying with them is in our interest. So we have to handle the geopolitical aspect. We have to make sure that there are no border encroachments, that they're not taking advantage of us. But we have to engage with everyone as adults, as grown-ups, as a maturing country, and which will be much larger in 20 years than it is today. We have to learn to handle the complexities of the relationships.
If you learned something new from this video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel so that we can bring you the best content possible. Also, if you want to watch this entire episode, click on the link in the description box and you can go to Kushal Lodha YouTube channel and watch the entire podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching this and have an amazing day.